All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So, I always say this place is a two-way street of knowledge. It is not just me here giving all the info. There are some amazing traders. There's some really good new traders asking questions I wasn't even smart enough to ask when I started, And this video, I think, is a perfect example of why I still do everything for free. I'm getting some stuff from everyone, and I would hate to charge people and like have someone not join, and all of a sudden I'm missing out on some important tickers. You know what I mean? So we really are a team here. This really is a two-way street, and I'm making what's called the DORK video. Okay, again, I really had not heard of this yesterday. I had no idea this was a thing. Someone sent me a question asking, hey, can you cover the DORK stocks? And I had to ask what that meant, and it's Dunkin' Donuts, as you see right here, or no, it's Krispy Kreme, sorry, but DNUT is the ticker. Open, Rocket, and Kohl's, DORK. That's the DORK tickers. And look, you can call these meme stocks, you can call it whatever you want. I'm seeing some interesting technicals, right? And you know me, you break the 50, you go to the 100, you break the 100, you go to the 200, and hey, we went from here to here. The question now really is, and we're basically still there, right? Are we going to go all the way to there, right? People are obviously talking about more and more, but hey, little at a time does you really, really well, and that's what we're here for, right? And that's essentially the theme across all of these. This actually already has taken off, right? This went from the 50 to the 100, from the 100 to the 200, and then broke all five and ran, right? So amazing volume in the billions on a single day, right? So a little bit of an interesting outlier, and we'll talk about that. But this is the O in DORK. The R is Rocket. And again, what are we looking at? This is a very, very interesting attempt right here. I'm actually a little surprised this one too wasn't enough for confirmation. And I'll go over that in a bit, because you can see the RSI never got that high, right? I'm clicking at a 60 something. I'm not even at a 70 something, right? So it is actually really, really interesting to see this one fail off of what did look like two confirmation candles, and this one came after a pretty textbook doji, right? So Rocket, I think, is an interesting again, when I give my technical expectations, that's all that they are, right? There's no crystal ball. Things don't always perfectly happen, but I'll tell you, you see that, this is not what I'd be expecting, and I'll give you my thoughts right there. And then lastly, what was it? I have to write these down because, like I said, I didn't remember it. KSS is Kohl's. I think the one thing I want to say about Kohl's, and again, this is part of the family, so in a lot of ways, maybe the realities of the truth I'm about to say doesn't even matter, right? But I'm actually hearing a lot of really good news about retail. Like retail, you generally hear is dead, and all of a sudden the numbers are making it sound like retail sales, retail foot traffic, retail is alive right now, and that's not a bad thing to have on Kohl's behind this little meme push, that whatever you want to call it, right? But just something to back pocket, because hey, sometimes it's nice to have the silliness of whatever, and then a little bit of real that people will like, right? But at this point, we're looking at a pump and a dump with volume, but we're holding the moving averages, right? It's really such an interesting 50-50 to look at, but yeah, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's funny because when I started it, I thought that they all looked about the same. You can tell I didn't even look at these things before I started recording, but this is the interesting bunch right here. Look, I'm at least gonna flash the indices. It always matters to me. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a meme stock or not. And hey, so far so good. Okay, I'm definitely seeing us ride the moving averages. We have not even used the 20 since all the way back here in late June, right? And that late June touch was actually the first one since we broke it, right? So over the eight's a good thing. Very, very strong 20 moving average behind it. Gotta at least call out the 86 RSI. That's very high for a textbook index. That's an important thing to say. Excuse me, especially when you're looking at an 89 on the weekly as well. So NASDAQ's running a little hot. I will say S&P 500 not as hot, but one more time, we are in the 80s. RSI is an 80-30, 80-30 up and down, right? And nothing is as textbook as the S&P 500. This is where a healthy cool down would be coming, but that divergence right there kind of says I'm hungry for more. That little bounce up is there's a lot more good than bad, right? But yeah, at least got to look at the indicator saying something. Again, an 85 on the weekly, but still such a good weekly, right? So keep the hot indicator in your back pocket. When we look at the Dow Jones, it's the Dow Jones that's the healthiest of the three. And maybe the Dow Jones is going to do well enough to carry the other two. And hey, let's be honest real quick. I would say at least two of the four of these DORK tickers are Dow Jones stocks. We're talking about a donut store and we're talking about a clothing store. Those two for sure, for sure, for sure. Those are Dow Jones tickers. And if the Dow keeps doing well, I would actually focus on Krispy Kreme and on Kohl's. Those would be my 1-2. Because when you look at open, right, it's actually a real estate. I saw the word technologies, but they're actually saying that this is real estate. Real estate, I would also put in Dow Jones. You're talking about land, right? I don't know how technologies this ticker word is. Yeah, open, I would also put that. And then look, Rocket, it's interesting because they're calling this financial services. I think I was kind of thinking of it as SoFi, as this like online mortgage company. But yeah, end of the day, I guess it is just a mortgage company. All four of these, really, you can call them Dow Jones stocks. Dow Jones with the healthiest RSI, Dow Jones over all five as well, Dow Jones on the weekly a little high, but not in the 80s just yet, right? So I think there's a little bit of logic behind this meme silliness. And again, I'm never here to care. I wrote the word dork. I'm never here to care, right? I don't care if this gets this pop because it's a meme thing, if it's earnings or whatever, right? We're just here for confirmation and to go. So cool. Before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. I've never covered these actually, so I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into these. And look, one more time, these right now are what they're calling the DORK stocks. DORK is for the D in Krispy Kreme, the O in Open, the R in Rocket, and the K in Kohl's. All right. What essentially it means is volume came, as you can see here, and that's basically the theme across all of these, right? This is, I would say, I mean, obviously it's still a pump like that, right? But there's a little bit more of a consistency right here that I like, right? Like when we just saw, man, it's so hard to remember these things, DNUT. This was just boom, 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 right? I think open was a little bit more sustained, I would say. Rocket, you can kind of argue these 3 days were relatively sustained right there, but again, from the down here to the up there, it was a little bit of a pop right there. And then KSS is the last one. This one was obviously the most extreme of the pump and dumps, right? So to me, at least when they talk about the meme world and the meme stocks, that just means volume to me, all right? What we are now looking at is where they are at against the moving averages, where they're at against a couple some resistance lines and support lines that I'll draw shortly, and that's going to dictate what happens next. All right, so this was the big day right here, and I will tell you, I do not like this candle. All right, there are 4 candle colors for a reason. There's green open and green close. This is not a good, not all good is equal and not all bad is equal, right? If I hurt my toe and I break my leg, yo, both are bad, but one is a lot more all right. You know what I mean? And I am never a fan. Take a look at the box over there. When we open up here at $5, like we basically open at 6 and then we drop all the way down, losing about 33%, going from basically 6 to 4. This is not a good green candle. That is not how you use your biggest volume day correctly. Okay? So this one did not use the volume well. All right. I know I saw that with at least another one, but let's go across the tickers with that. What was your best day? Hey, this was at least better. This at least opened down here and closed up there. Clearly, there was a big wick. And hey, hopefully it didn't happen to you, but some people got caught up at 5 and lost almost 50%. Not really, but yeah, close to coming back to the two somethings, right? So used it a little better, but that's not how you use your best volume correctly, right? I think it was Rocket that I saw that was yeah, this was the same thing. This was the biggest volume day. This one opens up here, not as drastic, but it loses about $1. That's a 10% loss, not a 1% gain, whatever you want to call it, right? And then Kohl's. This is the one that I think did hurt a lot, right? Because this is basically opening at 20, dropping below 15, right? That's a 25% loss right there. I know it's screen. What does it actually say? It says 37% gain if you're looking up there, right? Like that's what it says today was. Because yeah, for sure. We closed down here the day before and then we closed up here the day before. For sure it's a 37. But no, the truth really is someone bought up here at 20. Someone actually maybe even up here, right? A little higher. But it went from 20 to, and that's not how you use the volume. So right off the bat, I'm a little concerned with these DORK stocks because the volume wasn't used correctly. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm the best trader. I'm not saying our room is the best. I don't think we've really talked about the DORK stocks much. So maybe there's just a little bit of a lag in getting the DORK knowledge out there. I don't know what the word is, right? But I'm now going to be looking at these on Monday. I for sure was not looking at these last week. I know we talked about open in the Discord, like, oh, the room's not up, but I know we talked about open a lot. I don't know if we like just used the word dork and hey, maybe I just missed it, right? But again, my kind of thought is you didn't use your volume correctly last week when it first started. Maybe it'll take those last couple days and the weekend to set up next week. All right, so that's my general volume thought across all of them. All right, from here we'll talk numbers, we'll talk lines, we'll talk what we need. All right, so look, right off the bat, it's all about the 100 moving average right now. And I said in the opening thoughts, you break the 50, you come to the 100. We've done that. All right, you break the 100, you go to the 200, all the way up here at basically 7. Right, to get to 7. There's a couple easy things that are jumping out to me, right? It's basically that. I don't even think I need to draw this because that's basically this line, I think. I'm gonna delete that. So I think I can delete this line only because right now to me, this 100 moving average matters more, all right? It is actually wildly bullish over 420. And really, it can go as low as like 395 maybe, and I would still call it bullish, okay? What we really need to get over, now I think I'm going to make this line. Oh, that's literally what we're at. That's where we closed. Let's go, right? This day right here on the 9th of April, January, February, March, yeah, April, that closed at $4.42. That to the penny is where we're at right now. So we just got to get just a little higher above. How about that doji? Let's use that doji as the money line. Is that what we wicked? By less than a penny. So the high of this doji was $4.40. Wow, that was so dyslexic. 448. Break 449. I'll be real honest with you. I'm going to set that alert. Look, an alert is not an immediate buy notification. It's definitely a come check it out. Get over 450. I think you'll add $1 to 550 because all I see is red, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. That could be a beautiful green, green, green. You break 560, the next place I'd be thinking is basically 7 all the way to the 200 moving average, all right? It is completely game over if we go below 380. Because if you lose 380, this 8 moving average is going to go up here on Monday, right? I don't know the math behind the lines, but I'm just kind of guessing the slope, right? You go below 380, you're going to fall all the way down there. I don't even think that's going to catch it. And I think there's a good chance you'll fall near 3, all right? So cannot go below 380. You break 450, and I think good things will happen on Krispy Kreme right here, all right? Let's come to the next one, which is open, all right? So look, I'm actually seeing a very nice bounce on the 8 moving average, all right? That's actually pretty technically clean. Using good channels. Channel just means the spacing between some lines. That's good spacing. That's good spacing. Green, 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 right? Like that's what we're looking for. And just look what happened behind it, right? Red, 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 green, 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 green. I know it sounds like a silly little rhyme, but hey, the bank doesn't ask questions if the money's in the account. You know what I mean? So, yeah, at this point, I would not want to go below 2. I think if you lose $2, that same red, red, red that helped us up could turn to a quick drop down to about $1.50. Okay. As long as we stay over 2, it'll be okay. Truth be told, I don't want to go below 225. I think over 220, 225 is very bullish. You could lose 10% and maybe come to 2. Cannot lose 2 for sure. All right. What we're basically looking for, what's this line? Yeah, I like that line a lot. Look at that. Almost perfectly 50% of that thing, basically the bottom of that thing. Look, I'm willing to ignore the next 10% up. All right. I know some people are like, why are you going to throw away that good 20 cents right there? Look, there is no such thing as easy trading, but I would much rather go into a better zone than a tougher zone. All right. I'm going to give up this next 20%. Get me over 270 something. Let's call it, get me into the 280s. Oh, that's when the trading will get a lot prettier. Because from there, I would assume, well, basically, look at that. I clicked somewhere right there. It was the top of that. Not quite the top of that. I like that line. I would much rather go from 270 something to 330 than from this 250 to 270. So get me from here to here, and then after 230, that's where the next line basically will test 5, right? Because I just got red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 nothing, nothing, right? So the truth be told, you can ignore open all the way till 330, all right? I actually think 276 is a pretty nice entry right there. I do. And yeah, I don't think this is a redundant line because we have this thing here. Sorry, talking to myself. I like these lines right there. That's what I'm looking at on open technologies right there. We talked about the up. We talked about the down. Last thing to call out. This had the biggest volume of them all. This surpassed 1.5 billion share. What did it actually? 1.9, almost 2 billion shares in a day. Let's just go back. Let's Rocket. Let's just go to Rocket. Let's go to a month. All right. Each candle is a full month. This was the biggest month. And in the month, the volume was 1 billion, right? In a single day, open got this. My wife walked in. What's going on, baby? Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Good job. Good job. She was trying to be sneaky. I caught her. Get out of here.
All
so,
right.
so you can see the open ticker single day does more than more stocks do in a single month, right? So you can't ignore that. And yeah, you break this 275. I didn't set the alert. Let's go 277. Again, 2.77 is not an immediate buy. It's a come check it out, but that is what we're looking for there. Let's come into Rocket. Rocket, I think on the technicals was my favorite so far. And what does that really mean? Look, so with, what do we start with? DNUT. donut, we go up, we come down. I would very much say this line holds. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. Those aren't the best two candles right there after the pop. They're dojis. I'm not against them, but I would definitely call those dojis right there. Open, same thing. We popped, we've dropped. It's basically just been dojis across the three. Again, I'm not hating them. I'm just, I like a little bit of a stronger thing. Rocket, hey, look, this is actually a little bit of a doji as well. I'm not, you have a wick up, you have a wick down, you have a relatively small body. I'm not saying that this is the strongest, the best, the nicest, but this is a pretty nice technical bounce with a candle. You basically go up, you come down to the line, and you've used the line to bounce up, right? Again, those other two, I would very much say did the exact same thing. This one just kind of looks the prettiest. I think as I'm saying these words and looking at it, they're all probably about the same, I guess, but that was at least the immediate thought when I saw it, all right? So the first thing I gotta look at is this. So this candle closed at 1504, and we're actually only at 15. So immediately, I at least need us to get over 1505. Let's call it 1508. Let me see what that line looks like and if I need to adjust it. No, I like that line. Almost the bottom of both of these two, basically the top of that thing. We got to get over 1508. You get over that. Oh, look, almost. Let me raise it just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Right here. Look, I think pending your risk reward tolerance anywhere between 1508 and 1520. I'm going to set the 1521 and go with 1518, all right? Again, not an immediate buy notification. Is earnings tomorrow or did it just happen? It's on the 31st. When's the 31st? End of the week. We got some days. Let's trade before earnings. Why not? All right, so get me over 1520 and all I see is basically, yeah, I think that's about 50%. Is that what? Probably that, right? I think those are our lines up right there, okay? Very, excuse me, it is game over if we, I wouldn't use the word game over because it's not a crazy fall. It would be bad to go below 1430 because then I'm going to be thinking to myself 1370s. It's not the worst of the falls because really the lines are pretty friendly here. They're a lot thicker here than they were with open where, hey, you lose this, potentially you're going to go all the way down there, right? DNUT, you lose these, right? You're going to come basically down there because I don't know if I trust that line if you lose both of those right there, right? Rocket was just a little bit thicker than the other ones. So just do not lose 1440-ish. Maybe 1450, but again, I think the lowest you would go is maybe $1 on that, a little bit less than $1 on that. So Rocket, we got our lines up, and then last but not least is Kohl's. Look, Kohl's isn't too bad. This actually probably had the one real candle while the others were just living in that doji world, right? But this really has some good support as well. It would be really hard for this thing to go below 1170. I think if this goes below 1170, it is very much game over. And again, that seems like a nicely well-established 200, and it looks like the 8 moving average should go above it on Monday, but not crazy above it. So that'll have a nice 2-line support right there, right? I think this one's pretty easy. I think just get me over this candle right here. I'm going to zoom out, but my immediate thought is anywhere between 1360. Oh no, that's way too high. Yeah, I think let's put it here, a little bit over that 1360, and let's zoom out. Yeah, I would put my line right there. Basically, the top of that thing, bottom of that thing, 1380 is our money line. Break 1380, and man, this will go there. Got to give a little bit respect to the gap up. It just, those lines are a little bit harder to break than they seem. Because trust me, I see the red. Like I would normally draw the line all the way up there at 18. That 1550 might be a little tough. But yeah, you break 1380, you're going to go to 1550. Break that 1550, and there's another to something to be had right there, right? RSI is definitely going down, MACD's going up. It's all about the volume. And really that's the emphasis across all of these. This thing went from 200 million to below 20. We lost more than 90% of the volume right there. You can't do good things when you lose that much volume. But like I said at the beginning, it's where I'm going to end it. I had not heard about the DORK tickers till literally last night when someone sent me a message, right? I'm not pretending I'm the best trader. I'm not pretending our room is the best, right? But to me, I think more people will be like me as well. They're going to learn something over the weekend, have their eyes ready. Come Monday, they're looking at it. Some might even click buy. That's what brings volume, right? So they all need the volume, and from there, the lines will just do the rest, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.